Legislation that led to special education. The first legislation for people with disabilities that I would like to talk about is the Americans with Disabilities Act. Under this act, child care centers were not allowed to turn away a child because of a disability. Unless the child was a threat to others, the facility couldn't provide for the child without it being a burden, or the center would have to change their services. The act also discusses discrimination, including intentional and unintentional exclusions, such as segregation, services that are not effective, benefits, transportation, communication barriers, and failure to make reasonable accommodations. This act is important because it created minimum accessibility guidelines. This calls all state, local, federal, and public buildings to be readily accessible and usable by individuals with disabilities. The next legislation that I'm going to talk about is Education for All Handicapped Children. This act states that all children between 3 and 18 must be provided with free and appropriate public education. The child would be placed in the classroom that benefits the child the most. This means that if the child would benefit being in the special education classroom, that is where they would be placed. Many students are placed in both the general classroom and the special education classroom. This act has been changed to the Individuals with Disabilities Act. This act adds the zero reject policy. This means that no child can be turned away. This act also includes the development of an IEP for every child with a disability. An IEP is an individualized education program. It illustrates the goals that the school and parents want for their children with disabilities.